Good day, everyone. Not sure if you're watching this live or whether you're catching us on a replay, but what I do want to say is thank you so much for joining with us on day 16 of the first C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz Foundation Black History Month. It's taken a while for this type of program to go live within, on social media, but with everyone else celebrating their culture as they should, why not us? Right? So what I do want to say is that as we go forward, the topics that we're touching on, they aren't specifically just for African Americans. So everyone needs to take attention and pay attention to what's being said and what's being discussed. One thing I do want to thank everyone for is being with me and supporting and encouraging me and encouraging the foundation through everything that we've went through, especially in this past week. Someone thought it was okay to take some of our grace away from us. Only we're God's children, and that didn't happen. So I'm thankful. But on to bigger and better things. This is day 16. And with day 16, what we do have with day 16 is we're fortunate enough, very fortunate, and very blessed to have with us Miss Barbara Gaynor. Now, before I tell you a little bit about her, I want everyone that's paying attention to tonight's subject, which is all about the importance of your personal and family health. I want you to take special notice. About 2-3 years ago, we lost a huge part of our community. A huge part of our community was taken from us. And unfortunately, what occurred when they lost their lives is we didn't hear about the underlying conditions that are so often we can tie back to our genetic trace and back to the trace of our mom and our dad. Even when we are adopted, we could still trace that information back. And so the information was lost that, well, they had COVID. They also had, because no one talked about those underlying conditions that we all should talk about, that a lot of times, once again, are tied to our families. So without further ado, what I'm going to go ahead and do is tell you who Miss Barbara Gaynor is and why we as the foundation thought that it was important to bring her on so that she could talk about her subject tonight. So Miss Barbara Gaynor is owner of Braddock Consulting Advocacy. She has over 26 years of nursing experience in various areas of healthcare. She's used her nursing skills to become a legal nurse consultant and board certified patient advocate. I want to stop right there for a moment. If you're not sure of what a legal nurse consultant is or how a legal nurse consultant can help you, then you really need to be paying, once again, close attention to what Barbara is saying. And I'm sure she'll let you know when she begins her discussion what a legal nurse consultant is and how important it is for those of us in our community, all communities, but especially our communities, to know what a legal nurse consultant does. She's a board certified patient advocate. Woo woo! And she helps her clients navigate our complex healthcare system and their complex healthcare journey by educating and empowering them to make informed decisions. And when she does that, what she's also doing is she's also touching upon the third mission statement and tract of advocacy and of C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz Foundation, which is engaging. Because once a patient has informed decisions, they can actually, and informed choices, they can actually then become an engaged patient. And well, we all know if you're engaged, you really seem to get better health care, and that's because they pay attention to you. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and introduce Ms. Barbara Gaynor and let you tell her all about her subject tonight which is knowing the importance of personal and family health. Barbara, it is on you.
Thank you, Sandra, for this opportunity to be on this platform with you. I really do appreciate it. Hello, everyone. As Sandra said, I'm Barbara Gaynor, and I'm a nurse, legal nurse consultant, and board certified patient advocate. My topic tonight is tell the children the truth. Their health care depends on it. So I'll give you a scenario. Personally, I just found out something about my family history that kind of blew me away. And because of that, the health history that I grew up with is null and void. How many of you have that situation going on with you? That, oh boy, you know, you come up with this illness or something is going on and nobody in the family knows anything about it and everything's hush hush and they don't know where it's coming from. Lo and behold, you find out, well, the parents you grew up with are not really the parents that you have, they're not your biological parents. And so then the journey starts. What is my true medical history? For me, that was a shocker, but I embraced it. I am still embracing it. I thank God for what I have gained as far as new family. And I've also found out that a lot of my health issues, migraine, hypertension, and a stomach issue that what was called malt lymphoma of the stomach, that my father had that issue. He had a stomach problem. Exactly what it was, we don't know. But all his other children had have stomach issues. So because of that, I was able to tell the physicians what my true medical history was. And so they were able to treat me accordingly. And thank God I am cancer free right at this point. So I am thankful that I got to find out exactly what my true medical history is. So going back in time, I know it's like taboo for families to talk. Um, People may be adopting children legally, not legally. Oh, here's my child. You grow them, but you didn't give them the information that is vital to their health, which is what is your biological parents' medical history? Do they have a history of diabetes going all the way back to 3 or 4 generations? Do they have a history of sickle cell going back 3 to 4 different generations? What is the true medical history? And being hush hush with the information as far as what your healthcare history is detrimental to a child's health. Because if that child develops an illness and you say, well, I have no idea. Well, you adopted the child. Did you not get the information? Or you told somebody, I would raise this child for you. Did you not get the information? That information is vital so that you can save that child or that loved one. Because that depends, knowing the truth about what the history is vital to understanding what kind of medical treatment they will get. It's not a guess and spell situation. You can always say to them, look, I know I am raising this child. This child is not my own biologically, but I do have the true history of what the father's history is, what the mother's history is. And it goes back at least 2 or 3 generations. Wow, that is fantastic. And that is vital. Another scenario, you don't tell your child that they were adopted at all. You've passed away and something happens to that adult child now, and they have passed it on to their child. And they are in the situation, well, nobody in the family who I grew up with has this problem. So where does this thing come from? Now, if you had the true understanding and the true information, medical history information, you wouldn't be guessing and spelling. You would go, okay, fine. This is from my mother's side or this is from my father's side. And so telling the children the truth about their healthcare history is vital for them. It's like life or death. So you withholding and being secretive, and it doesn't benefit anybody. It's detrimental to the ones who are mostly affected. Will they get upset? Well, why didn't you tell me this before? And who is it? That's for another day. What we want to know is, what is my medical history? Is there a history of hypertension, diabetes? Is there any kidney disease in the family? Is there any cancer? What kinds of cancer are there? These are vital, vital pieces of information that everybody, white, black, brown, Latino, everybody, African American, Native Indian, everybody needs to know what their true medical history is about, because it can save your life. So I implore you, I think, Sandra, you had someone on the other day talking about their medical binder. That's something that you put in your medical binder. That piece of information, it's right there. You've got it. And so you can know, well, okay, this illness came from this side of the family, or that kind of, or this side of the family. So it is important that you know. Don't wait for a situation to happen and then you go, oh, well, I should have said something, but that doesn't help anybody. It's not, it doesn't help. So the moment you agree to raise someone's child, if they're dying, get their medical history. If you adopted a child, get their medical history. If you are doing, a lot of single women right now are wanting to do in vitro by themselves. They, have this catalog of donors and all that. Get that medical history, because you're going to need it. You are going to need it, because if something happens to that child, you know where this issue came from. So how I found out with my situation is I did ancestry.com. Woohoo! Good piece of information. Now I know that I have brothers and sisters and all that good stuff. Thank the Lord. Because as I grew up as an only child. So having that is a blessing. But knowing your true medical history is vital to understanding, because my children now know that, well, their health history is not the health history that I grew up with. Now they have the true health history, so they can say, okay, this is why I have hypertension, or no, I know that, well, diabetes runs in my family or cancer runs in my family. They can make informed decisions as how they are going to maneuver their health care. What proactive steps are they going to take in their life? Maybe it's a double mastectomy because you find out, well, your birth parents have a long history of cancer, or you find out that you have prostate cancer, and the family you grew up with, nobody has that on their side. So where did this thing come from? So knowing what it is that your true medical history is about can save your life. I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she explained to me that her husband had an illness and they didn't know what it was. He had all these lesions all over his body. And so doctors were cutting them and cutting them. And he's like, I'm so tired of being cut upon, until he found out the truth. Nobody told him that he was adopted. And because of that, he was able to trace where these lesions came from and what name they were. And because of that, and he shared this information with the healthcare providers, they were able to treat him accordingly, saving his life. So again, being secretive about things is one thing. When I where I grew up in Jamaica, they said, well, whatever goes bad in the night can come good in the morning, and what happens in the dark will always come to light. Well, that is true. It will always come to light. But the thing about it is, what are you going to do to make sure that that light helps you with your healthcare journey? So I implore you to you and your family and find out exactly what your true health history is. Have that conversation with grandma, grandpa, great grand. Dig up all the that, Miss Sandra, I would like to say, what else do you have?
Well, I actually do have some feedback that I want to actually share with you. But before I share, so this is it. So
Okay.
in about
Are you frozen?
no, I can see you. I do see you.
Well, let me continue. Okay. So, important for me to know these kind of things. It will save your life. So what if I don't really want to know, and it's going to cause a lot of discord in family? Would you prefer to have discord in your family, or prefer to know exactly the true health history that can save your life or a loved one's life? Family will always be there. You can always get over your feelings. It will hurt for 2 seconds, but look at the blessing that you have. You have new knowledge, new ways to empower yourself. Knowledge is empowerment. And as long as you have that knowledge of what's happening to you as far as your health care, it will save your life. It will make a total difference. So I implore you to really have those conversations, especially kids that are going off to college and stuff. They fall sick in college, and you get this call, and you, as the caretaker of this young adult, you don't know what's really going on. They don't know what's going on, but understand that the health history that you have is not their health history, it's their biological parents' health history. So, what are you going to do? Arm your children with the knowledge of their true health history. It will save their life. Put it on a piece of card and laminate it and tell them keep it in their wallet if they can't remember it. It's vital for them. So I implore you again, knowing your health history is knowledge and empowerment, and it can help to save your life. Miss Sandra?
Thank you so much for that, Barbara. And I do have it wasn't a question. So if anyone actually has a question while we're here tonight, please go ahead and either put your question in the Facebook chat or put your question in the LinkedIn chat. But I want to keep this conversation going because it needs to continue to go. About 3, 4 years ago, I wrote and I self-published a personal health planner and journal. Most people say, well, that's already out there, but it really isn't. And it's really important that people need to know, because with the personal health planner and journal that I created, it has a space for you to put your family history, because I knew then that your family history is just as important as your health or as your own history. I mean, your personal history can be traced way back to your ancestors.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No matter what color you are, your personal health history is a part of your family health history. And the same thing for those of you that are young enough that are like, okay, well, we ain't got no kids yet. Or you're sitting down and you're planning out your child, you're planning to have a kid. What's your health history? What is your husband or your wife's to be? What is their health history? Do you know it?
Yes,
Like Barbara
true.
said, do you know it?
That is so
If
very, very
you
true.
don't know
You
it,
can't figure out why you can't have a child. Trace
right,
your history back.
right. And that's so
Absolutely.
true.
Absolutely.
And so,
Vitally important.
I'm
Yeah,
often
vitally
asked,
important to have those conversations.
I'm often asked about, okay, Sandra, I don't know who my biological mother and who my biological father is, but you know your culture. So don't just stop your looking at your biological. If you know your culture, then you should be able to do a deep dive search into what is predominant in your culture. No matter what culture you are, you'll be able to tell, okay, well, in this culture, this is what they had. So as you get sick or you start developing signs and symptoms that something in your life is just not right, perhaps you want to we all love the internet. Perhaps you want to get on the internet and do a search, do a Google search or whatever other engine you use. Do a search and find out, okay, what do people, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother was from Suriname. So, I mean, with me as an
Mhm.
example, I will put in what does the Suriname culture, what kind of health issues do they have, so that I could see it,
Mhm.
and so that I could know what kind of health issues they have, so I could go try, when I get sick. And the best thing about knowing your personal and your family health history is this: you have a chance to write it down. And now,
Mhm.
today, I mean, my sister, I tell this story all the time because it's important for people to know. I told my sister, my oldest sister, she passed away from a really rare heart condition. No one knew what it was. The medical doctor at her insurance company was looking up internet to find out what it was. When we found out what it was, the name of it, it was so rare that when we found out what the name of the disease was, and me talking to him, they was like, well, from what the information is that we found online, there's no cure for this. And of course, because we live in a society, right, that's capitalistic, I'm telling everybody that's watching this, if you cannot bring money in, if they know you, they're going to heal you, and you ain't going to be able to do nothing but sit at home and just collect uh, checks and all of that, the chances of you really getting help, unless you know somebody, unless you use that all important voice, that all important tool of the voice, unless you
Mhm.
use it, you really are not going to get help. Look at the color of your skin. Read the stories on
Yeah.
gaslighting so that you'll know. But if you go to the doctor's office or to the hospital and and you could readily, like, my journal is a pocket-sized journal. It's pocket-sized for a reason, because I don't want you to forget and leave it at home and say, oh, it was too big, I left it on the table. I had a speaker on day one. She has a cloud system. Same thing. You can actually put all your information in there. The young people like to use, well, young people, older people, whatever. People. We like to go into the cloud. We like to get our stuff in the cloud. Oh, everything's on the cloud. Well, prior to her introducing her tool, and she's an African American. So when we talk about resources and all, we want to make sure you know that these are people who have gifts that are in our community, and these gifts are put out there so that we can get the goal that C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz wants all of us to have, especially those in the African American community, especially those in other vulnerable communities, including the disabled, where we think everybody should have the right to, which is the best health outcome.
Okay.
So here
Mhm.
she created a tool for you to use. We actually had Deirdre Kindred on. She actually has a medical binder. What's the
Mhm.
difference between a medical binder and a journal? The journal is pocket size. You could take it with you. You can actually put the medical binder pages inside the journal. There's no excuse, guys. There really isn't no excuse. And we have to stop waiting for people to save us, because guess what? I don't care who you are, they're not coming to save us, which is why it's important for us to listen to what Barbara is saying. You have to. It's imperative that you find out what's your health history. You find out what your cultural health history. You find out
Absolutely.
what your biological parents' health history is. It's imperative for you to do all that.
Yeah.
Failure to do all of that.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. And even if you can't find out what your biological parents' history is, as Sandra said, what is your culture? I mean, in the African American culture, we know that diabetes runs rampant, and we also know that prostate cancer runs rampant. We know that kidney disease runs rampant. We know other things that run rampant. So what are you going to do proactively to make sure that you, when you go to your doctor, you can have a conversation? Don't go to the doctor and say, well, I feel sick, and he's going to pay 20 questions with you. If you go there with the information that he needs, well, I'm feeling these symptoms. I know from family history that my uncle, twice removed, had this same kind of situation, and his treatment was this. Can you tell me if what's going on once you do the lab work and the diagnostic tests and stuff, if this is something similar, so that I can get the healthcare treatment that I need? That gives the doctor something to work with. But if you don't have any skin in the game, you can't say. There's a saying that says, if you don't have a seat at the table, you are on the menu.
If
That's
you
it.
say
You are
that
on the
again,
menu.
look,
So
say
if
that
we
again
are
for the people
always
in the back.
complaining and saying that we need better health care, open your mouth. Don't go there and say, you take your car to the mechanic. Well, it started sputtering and stuff, and I was down, I-75, and the next thing the tire blew out. And that's information for the mechanic. Then why don't you give the same information to your physician? Physicians do not have a crystal ball.
And
They are going off of what knowledge base they have, but don't let them have to play 20 questions with you in order to pull out. This is not Jeopardy. It's jeopardizing you because you are not saying something. Okay. And the doctor is getting paid at the end of the day, regardless of what it is. And then you say, oh, well, I wasn't treated right. Well, did you open your mouth? Did you write down, okay, I started having a headache at 7 o'clock this morning, and then by 7:15 I started feeling chest pain, and all this kind of stuff. You have to be more proactive. And this is why advocates are, and doctors and nurses and everyone in healthcare are saying that you need to be proactive. You have to have skin in the game. You cannot just say, and don't lie. For God's sake, don't lie. Because you lying to your physician delays your treatment plan. It does. especially those people, and I'm not casting any judgment, who smoke weed, who chew tobacco, who like to snort or whatever, because if God forbid something happens to you and you have to have surgery right away, and they say, do you know if they've had anything in the last hour or so? And you say no, then they go into the operating room and the anesthesiologist says, what's that white thing in his nose? Hello, you've just delayed your treatment. You've just delayed your treatment
Yeah,
because now they have to recalibrate because that material or substance or whatever you want to call it has an adverse effect on the medication that they want to give you so that they can save your life. So don't complain, talk the truth. The truth will set you free. This is what we're talking about. Tell your children the truth. Have your children tell you the truth. Okay? My boys, when I was hearing some truths, I'm like, oh, but hey, they're adults. I can't do anything about it. But I was one of those mothers that was very, very vigilant. And so I knew what was what. But at least know what is going on. Know what's going on, because if you don't tell the physicians what's happening, then you are delaying your treatment. Now, are there some physicians out there that will go, oh, yeah, it's nothing, no big deal? Well, yes, it is a big deal. I'll give you a scenario. After I had to have radiation therapy to my stomach, and because of that, things that I ate, I couldn't have any of my regular medications, my hypertension medications and all that sort of stuff. And so I went to my primary doctor and he wrote, well, she says that she can't take anything by mouth. And so she will let us know when she wants to go. I never said that. This is another imperative thing. Always read your My Chart visit notes so you can dispute things. So I went to my cardiologist and I explained what's going on. And she said, oh, no problem. We can just put you on a patch. Same kind of medication, different name, but same medication. And instead of you ingesting it, you can put a patch on your arm and stuff, and it will deliver the same amount of medication that you would need if you were to take it orally. What a difference. What a difference. Don't let a physician, and I love doctors, trust me, I do, but they are human. They are human. And so some of them will get it right, some of them won't get it right. But that doesn't mean that we don't keep pursuing what we need to be able to be healthy. So get your papers in order, find out what your history is, find out what is going on medically going on with you, so that when symptoms arise, you can write it down, time, date, and take it from there, because certain things happen that require a timeline to know what's going on. COVID, who were you exposed to? You went somewhere and somebody was coughing somewhere, and you just happened to passing by and inhale that cough. And so now you have that bug in you. So where were you? Okay, fine. Then at least if they are doing a track as to see, okay, how many other people were exposed. There was a thing here in Cincinnati the other day that said, well, you might have been exposed to mumps. That's a thing of the past. But yeah, so
You know
definitely.
what, Barbara? The mumps issue, I know this is off track,
Yeah.
but the mumps issue, just for everybody that's listening, I just read an article today. The mumps are on the rise. Where it's coming from, no one knows. But that's something that you need to know if you will actually be, if you're subjected to getting the mumps. They're doing a big study now to try to find out why it's reoccurring, because we, those of us in a certain age group, I'm not going to say which age group it is, those of us in a certain age group we thought, okay, well, we had the mumps when we were little. We got the MMR vaccine,
See?
so we'll never have it again. However, it's on the rise again. What does that tell us, and what should it tell you? That if it's on the rise again, then it's something genetically that's going on with mumps that years later, after we thought it was eradicated, just about, it's back on the market, and it's not so much on the market, but it's back in the news, and it's making headlines because more and more people are being now diagnosed with the mumps. So
Exactly. And that is a part of your health history.
right.
So if you vaccinated or if you didn't vaccinate, whichever one is a part of your health history, you need to get that written down. You need to know, your child needs to know, your adult child needs to know, well, they never were vaccinated as a child, or they were vaccinated as a child. There's no judgment here. What we're trying to tell you is your health history is vitally important to saving your life. So please get together with your family on both sides, mother, father, all the way back. Search old journals or everything. The family Bible may tell you some information that you never knew, but you need to have this information because it will save their life. So with that, tell the children the truth because their health depends on it.
Now, before what I do want to do is I want to go over some of the comments that we actually did have, and I'm sitting here and I'm laughing as you're talking, and I'm laughing because you mentioned when you go to the doctor's office, have a card, and have the questions, because the most they're going to answer is 20 questions. I'm like, well, what doctor should he go to that can answer 20 questions? Because most of them, if you fooling around, they give you time to ask maybe five, and then they're out the door, right? And you're like, out the
Well,
door.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. I mean, I'm exaggerating the 20 questions, but the thought of it is, if they keep questioning you, well, so when did it start, and how did it, and where were you, and that's
Right.
give him more ammunition, give him more information that is vital to helping you.
Right.
So yeah.
That is true. Sherry Reed writes, this is a huge issue. It is, Sherry, for all cultures, not just ours, but it's an even bigger issue in our community. And one of the reasons, I'll let Barbara fill us in or give her insight onto this, one of the reasons why it's such a huge issue in our community, in the African American community, but there's a couple of them. One, we don't talk. We have a voice, we use it, we don't use it for the right thing, which is saving our lives. Our lives, once we're gone, we're gone. We ain't coming back. You don't get no recycled life. Not yet, anyway. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't need to be really honest with you. I don't even want to come back. Once I'm gone, I'm gone. Don't be doing no AI and bringing signature back because she don't want to come back. So I'm trying to help y'all now. I'm trying to help as many as I can, especially in our community, Sherry, because I don't know about you, but I want to come back. And if there's some that are listening tonight or listening whenever you listen to this, if you want to come back, please let me know, and let me know why you want to come back, right? I mean, but really being honest, she's right. It's a very important subject matter. It is. I mean, we could sit here today or tomorrow, we could laugh about it, joke about it a little bit. But at the end of the day, as I tell everybody, write it down. If you go to the doctor's office, my doctors actually look for me to come into their office now, because they know when I go in there, I'm gonna have my journal, and they know that I'm gonna be in those patient notes my primary care doctor is good because she said I tell every specialist I send you to that you are a special patient because I'm gonna go read my notes. I'm not stopping at just the basic summary, brief description of what occurred. I want to know what you wrote in your notes is what I want to know. Those notes are ours. We have access to them. We can get those notes, read those notes. What I do caution people against, and unfortunately, once again, this is a money issue. I have to bring this up. Do not use your patient portal unless you ask the provider or the hospital, if or your medical care group, whoever you're going to, if there's a charge for using the patient portal. If there is a charge for using the patient portal. How do you get around that, Sandra? If they tell me it's a charge and I can't afford it, that's not my budget to pay for it. How do I get around it? Call your doctor. Say my appointment is scheduled. Call him before. Don't wait till the day of your appointment and think he's going to print out all that stuff. Call your doctor's office. Say you have an appointment. Today's February 16th. Say you have an appointment February 25th, right? You go to the you go into the doctor. Your medical care group, your provider says we charge you for use of the patient portal. It's not the insurance company this time. It's your actual medical care group that's telling you that we're charging you. Our patients need to pay for this. Call your doctor. I got an appointment on February 21st. Can you print my records from the last visit so that I can pick them up while I'm in the office, because I don't want to pay out of pocket for something that I shouldn't have to pay for. You really shouldn't have to pay for it. But once again, in this capitalistic economic society that we deal with, that we're in, you have to actually be prepared to know that you might be charged a fee. So with that being said, I see a LinkedIn user. I'm not sure who the LinkedIn user is, but if you can write your name when you're typing in your comments so that I can see, and so I can see and I can actually address you, I would appreciate it. But they do have some great information. She's saying great information. Once again, we go back to that. He or she is also saying the user is actually also saying, plus they don't have time to ask 20 questions. We really don't. I mean, we just talked about that. We really don't have, the doctors don't have
that time. That's
and
right.
this is the thing. It's not that they don't want to, but what's occurred now is medicine has become a business. You are a consumer of that business, but the business owner has a contract that they sign. In that contract, they're told how many minutes they can spend with you. They're told that there's different codes that go in it, so they tell you that information up front. So our LinkedIn user is Darlene Christie. Thank you, Darlene, for sharing and writing in. But yeah, so it's a contract.
So then that's why it is so important for you to have your notes ready to go, so that that visit is productive, so that you can get the information that you want. This started this day, this is what's going on, or he just prescribed a new medication, then this is what's been happening with me since I started taking the medication. You have to have some knowledge. And then even if you're allergic to a medication, that's a part of your health history. And that's something that your kids can also know about, okay? Because I tell you, my kids can't take a tetanus shot. Why? Because there's something in their father's DNA that he can't have a tetanus shot either. So it comes down to the line. So that's health history that is good to know. It is very, very good to know.
And not only is it good for you as a patient to know, but you really need to have that information somewhere where anyone can get to it. What we saw with COVID, with people having to be dropped off at the hospital or taken to the doctor, and the only person that could get in to see the doctor was the patient. Well, what if if you're sick, like if you're really out of it, you're not thinking. So if they
No.
ask you, well, how have you been feeling, or anything medically related to your health history, the chances of you being able to actually answer them,
is not happening.
to next to none.
Exactly. Exactly. So therefore, get your medical binder together, get your health history together. They go hand in hand. And as Cassandra said, if you don't want to take the binder, have a small book that you can also put in the binder, but you have that information there. Use the cloud applicator that the other talker had, and use those tools. Those tools will help you organize your health information. So
We,
we're giving you the tools. And please, males especially, I'm really talking to the males. Please do not feel as though no one is addressing you also. You are a part of this party. It's not only women, men are involved in this also. You have to be proactive in your health. So find out what your health history is so that your wife, your girlfriend, your friend, your children know what's going on with you so that they can better help you. Tell the truth so that you will have a better outcome for your health care.
yeah, and that's and that's something that I want to touch upon with the next user who actually wrote something, and I had to laugh when you said this because both of you are nurses, and she's actually on my board, and every time she's actually on the foundation board, I should say, and every time we talk and we talk about an issue, she's like, Sandra, could you just tell me why patients think that we ain't gonna know the truth? Nurses
That's
know
it.
better than the doctors what the truth is. Like, you can lie all you want, right? But the nurses know. I mean, they see the labs, they smell the stuff in your skin. You not telling the truth is hurting you. Not
You.
only is it hurting you, but if you have children, it's hurting your children. You're taking the risk with hurting them. If you're married or have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you're hurting them. You're hurting our community. And God knows we need as many people around as we can possibly get into our future. But you're hurting all of them when you go to the doctor. You don't
Yeah,
write stuff down. You get there and you say, "Oh, I don't know," but you really do know that you're not taking care of yourself the way you should be. You really do
exactly.
know that when you come home from work every day, or if you're working from home every day, you're having 10 beers or 10 glasses of wine instead of one. They know where, you get come in there and there's, something's out of sync and something's not, but this is what you told them, so this is what they have to do. You don't have nothing written down. You just don't know. You're in a fog. You're sick. You're in a fog. You once again, when you're sick like that, your resistance is very low. You're not thinking clearly, right? The nurses
Right.
know, but guess
Yeah.
what happens because the nurses know? They can't say anything. They can't say, well, we know for a fact because this person smells like this, or this person acts like this, or this is what the lab results say when they came back. They can't say anything because you, as a patient, I say write it down, but you, as a patient, you signed a document when you went to the doctor's office.
Consent to treat.
Oh, right. Or at the hospital, that said consent to treat, and you only wanted XYZ to know about your business. Not a smart move. If you tell you if you're lying, it's not a smart move. Because who can help you?
That's it.
Really,
Yeah.
nobody can help you. You're at a loss. So it's helpful for you to be as honest as you can when you go to the hospital, doctor, take, do what you must do. but it's helping you. It's not helping them, and it's certainly not hurting them, right? It's your life. You only
Exactly.
get one. If you want,
Exactly.
if you want to live this one longer and not have to worry about AI bringing you back somebody else, you write it down. You do these things that we are literally charms. Is literally charms and charm supporters who have graciously given every day during this month of February. They've graciously given every day freely of their time to come to you and literally beg you, the patient community, the loved ones of the community, the caretakers, the external team. We're all coming to you to beg you to take better care of yourself.
Yourself.
We all
Absolutely.
are. We're giving you pointers, we're giving you tips, we're giving you tools. I'm readily available should you need to talk afterwards or you want some information, reach out to them. We're putting it out there because we can't. Those of us that are in the African American community or the brown community, we can't sit back
Mm-hmm.
and not say anything. We've done that so long. We've done that too long. And guess where this has gotten us? Absolutely nowhere. So we got to stand up and keep continuing to fight that fight and say what we got to say to get the information out there. Then that's exactly what we will be doing. Because we need
Exactly.
to actually each one, teach one,
Um,
reach one. Do not forget about the reach one part. I hear people all the time say each one, teach one. That's good. It gets us, closer to the finish line. But if each one teach one reaches one, guess what? We're gonna cross that finish line. And we're gonna stay across that
Absolutely.
finish line because it's a continuous pace of learning. So with that being said, I do want to actually say, and this is exactly what Carolyn said. She said, agreed, be honest. Be honest when you go to the doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest when you're sitting down and you're like, you know what? They make a lot of sense. Let me get Sandra's journal, or let me buy Deirdre's binder, or let me do Renee's on cloud in cloud software. Let me use one of these three to put it down. Don't sit there and put some stuff down that ain't true.
That's right. That
Don't
is true.
lie because
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
somebody
Find
right.
out, find out from your adoptive parents, find out from your biological parents, what is my true health history. That's the key to knowing everything, because then you will have that knowledge to know, okay, this rare disease happens in our family. So you are aware. Let your healthcare provider know so it is documented. Because if you're in a situation where you cannot speak, the doctor who is going to be treating you, it will be listed in your history
Mm-hmm.
that this is what is there. So it is vitally important that you know your health history. Don't say, oh, I can't be bothered and that's just too much time. And which would you prefer? Not to do it and die and then go, well, or would you prefer to know and live and not let AI have to bring you back?
And I mean,
So
Marty, you're so right in what you said. It's vitally. You know what? You
it
encourage
is.
people, and you encourage people because you are a patient while you're a nurse consultant, and while you're a patient advocate, and while you do all these wonderful things for all these wonderful people. At the end of the day, you are a patient. You
Yep.
have a lived experience. And that's the same thing I feel about myself. I'm a patient. I have a lived experience. You don't come to us this evening to tell us about something. Well, you think maybe it's good that you write this stuff down, but you come to us with a real life issue, a
Yeah.
true and factual issue that
Issue.
occurred to you. That
Mhm.
in keeping it secret and not saying, hey, you were adopted, here's a little bit about your mom, your dad, or even any information at all, right? So you couldn't be proactive.
Couldn't
There's
be
no way
proactive. I
that you
had to rely on my siblings to give me the true history because all the parties involved, AI wasn't bringing them back for me to ask. So, relying on, and thank God I have two sisters who are nurses, so that they also know the importance of having healthcare information, and so they were able to impart to me what my parent had. So it was good. It
Yeah,
was it, it was really good. It's made me more aware of what it is, and so that history now translates to my children, that they know what's going on for there. And then I would encourage mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, have the conversation, and also make a medical binder for your children. Make
right.
a medical binder for your children so that they have that history. So if you
Exactly.
have two kids, start their medical binder right away with
And
all
that is,
the information that they need, because it is important. It
and
is
that is so
vitally
true.
important.
That is very, very true. That's what each and every product that's out there, even
Yeah,
with the binder, get the
yeah.
binder, learn how to use the binder, learn what goes in the binder. With my journal, I tell people the same thing. I'm like,
Mhm.
look, I wrote this because I give you the reason why. But this is the thing, and you brought this up earlier, Barbara, when you said this. Your kids, if you're a caregiver, babysitter for a young kid, and that kid is in your, is in your care.
Mhm.
And we're talking about kids younger than young adults. We're talking about the babies, and those are going to, kindergarten, grade school, and they after school they come to you. If that kid gets sick in school, or gets sick at your house, or gets sick in the park, do you know how to treat them? Have you asked the mom and the dad to sit down and either create a binder so that you'll have it, or get the journal so that you can write it down and make it clear, or go on the cloud and put the information on the cloud so that people could get access to it? Do you have it, or are you willing? Because I mean, I'm going to ask you this, but I'm going to answer for all of you that haven't bothered to do this yet, which is writing it down and making your personal and your family history somewhere where everybody can get a hold of it, especially those who you trust.
Yeah.
This is my question: why are you risking your child being taken to the emergency room, or being taken to the hospital or to a doctor's office, and given the wrong medication? Why?
Yep. Because
And
nobody knows that they're allergic to this, or they're allergic to peanuts, or they're allergic to, or they've never had this, or they've had a reaction to this. Nothing. It is selfish to not share their history.
yeah, I mean,
It
really,
is selfish, not, it is selfish, and it is, I will even bring it a step forward to say it is willful to not really take the time to make your medical binder, because if something happens to you and somebody else has to raise that child, they are going in blind. So share your medical history, right? As Sandra says, get the journal, get the medical binder, use the cloud. You have the tools. You have the tools to be able to make sure that the medical history is there for everyone to use, especially those kids going off to college
right?
and they're by themselves and they have no idea. When they were sick, you were the one giving them Tylenol and you were the one doing so and so. They're on their own. How are they going to function? What do they know about your medical history that translates to them? They know nothing. You're sending them into battle with no weapons.
Yeah, I mean, and you
That's
want them to be,
basically what you're doing.
yeah,
You're sending them into battle with no weapons.
yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah,
Think about
it's
that.
something for all of us
Yeah.
to consider, especially when, especially in our African American community, especially when we
Absolutely.
have children involved or a spouse involved or siblings involved. This is information that we all need to have. We need to be readily able to take it with us, sign on, do whatever it is that we need to be able to do to have that information so that we can save our community, save ourselves.
Yeah.
When I
Listen.
initially wrote the journal I wrote it because it was right after COVID. And I got so tired of turning the TV on and hearing people say that these people are dying of COVID, or some, having calls and people saying, "Girl, I didn't even know they had such and such and such." Oh, wait, what? And this is family members they were talking about that they didn't know they had this, that, or other. Why didn't you know that? I mean, and I
Mhm.
know, before we close out, I do know that it happens. I'm not going to say my age, but I will say this, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. When I was growing up, our holidays were spent at my nanny's house. We called my grandmother Nanny. My mother's mom, we called her Nanny. We called her Nanny. My cousins, my aunts, my uncles, everybody got together at Nanny's house for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, right? The kids sat in the kids' room and adults sat in the adults' room. They didn't have anything, no way of transcribing things, writing things down. They were having these sidebar conversations with adults. So now, fast forward to the point in my life where I'm at now. I was 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. I didn't know until my mom was maybe about 2 months from passing that she had chronic kidney disease. And I said, "Oh, I get it." That's why when I told her, she told me, well, I wouldn't worry about it. Perhaps that's why. But it made me think, perhaps that's what they were doing, then was they was having these conversations about who had what and what had who. And we as children at that time, because they was like, if you come in this room, you didn't go, and we knew not to go in that room where the adults were, right? We knew our place, right? But they were having these conversations, and they were having these conversations about things that are now coming back to bite us. I mean, cancer. Nobody talked about cancer. But at the time, cancer was, thank you, Darlene, for coming. She says she's got to run. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Yeah, but, they'll get off my soapbox, but I had to, this is why the journal was written. This is why it was written in the way in which it was written. This is a big reason why Deirdre did her medical binder, because she, as a nurse, actually saw it too. People are
Mhm.
coming in unprepared,
Yeah.
unprepared. And when things happen, they want to blame the doctor. But actually, me, if I didn't take ownership of the fact that I need to be proactively monitoring my health, that be on me. You, as a parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, whatever, older brother, sister, whatever, if you don't take the time to write it down, and I'm not talking about, don't go get some yellow stickies and take them and write on them, and you get to the doctor's office and you got to go try to figure out what you wrote down. That's the wrong time for it. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. Take some time to write it down. You write it once and you get it updated. I mean, how much more updating will you have to do? And I know before Darlene left, and so we'll close out with this. Before Darlene stepped away, and I'm not sure if she's still on with us or not, she's actually also saying something that we all need to remember every time we go to the doctor's office. Take notes.
Notes.
Take
Mhm.
notes. Do not just take a note one day and then, or one visit, and then don't take no more notes. Or take
All
notes and be
right.
like, well, I ain't gonna look at, I got these notes from the last time I came in here. No. Take notes, take them every time you go into the doctor's office. Go home, get on
And
that
the other
portal.
thing is, don't go alone. Don't
Exactly.
go alone to the doctor, because what
Exactly.
you hear is something totally different. The CDC says it's better to have two people go to the doctors, because somebody will hear something, and while the doctor is giving you bad news, you frozen in time. but
Right.
somebody else
Exactly.
heard something else,
Exactly.
So yeah, it is imperative.
That
Anyway,
yeah.
Sandra, thank you very much for this platform.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. I enjoyed the conversation, and then once again, it was a
I did too.
conversation that we needed to have. It was a conversation in which we told truth. We lent into truth. Our
Hmm.
community needs to hear these things. For far, far, far too long, our community has been going about just taking everything where nobody cares, and well, I didn't know that, and I'm sure you hear it a lot of times too, Barbara. Well, Sandra, how come you're the only one that's telling me this? Medicine is a business. With what business owner do you know? I'm speaking to all of you that are listening, no matter what time of day you listening to this at. What business owner do you know is going to tell you all his secrets on how he run his business? So why would you think that your health goes,
This is why
haywire?
you need patient advocates, my dear.
Right. So that's
Yeah,
why you
the
need to.
patient advocates have the inside story.
And this is the thing about that, Barbara. You got to be, all of us as patient advocates, whether we're independent advocates or whether we are an advocate for a facility, we all
Hmm.
of us have the patient's best interest at heart. The
Yep,
difference between an independent advocate
just at
and
heart.
a
Absolutely.
facility is that the facility advocate, once they sign that paper saying that they're going to work for Johnny Smith's hospital, have to do what Johnny Smith tells them to do. And while they might want to tell you of other options
Absolutely.
that you may have, the chances of them telling you that are slim to next to none, because they take a chance on losing their jobs. And I don't know any of us that get up every day and go to work because that's what we want to do
Mhm.
with our lives. I'm being honest with everyone that's listening to this. So there's a real reason why you need to align yourself. And I'm not saying don't listen to those the facility-based advocates or the advocates that work for organizations. But what I am telling you to do is open your mind to saying, I really need to get someone that's not tied to anyone. They're tied to me. They can tell me everything from A to Z, where I don't have to go back and forth with anyone. We are out here. We're out here to help you. We want you to learn. We want you to know. I, as a community-based advocate, I'm in a community. I'm doing what I can do for the communities that I belong to, which are the underserved, which is African American, the vulnerable, which are women, are considered a big part of the vulnerable community, and the disabled
Mhm.
community, because I have I have health challenges, health conditions, I should say, that classify me as someone that's disabled. So I have those three. And those three mean more to me, and they mean a lot
Mhm.
to me. But other advocates, other independent advocates, have different fields that they work in. Like I stated earlier when I introduced Barbara, her thing is she's a legal nurse consultant. Unfortunately, and I don't know if she'll have the time to do it, we didn't get a chance to discuss what a legal nurse consultant is, but she's a legal nurse consultant. Stay tuned in March because she don't know it yet, but y'all can tell her she'll be back in March for Women's Month. So she can explain during Women's Month what a legal nurse consultant is. So I'm just lining everything up. So she'll be back in March, not sure what day, but yeah, tune in so you can find out what a legal nurse consultant is, when you would use a legal nurse consultant, and why you knowing a nurse consultant is important. So I'm not gonna hold you any longer, Barbara, but what I do want to ask you for is to, and for those of you that did come, I'm not showing anyone, for some reason I see Simone F, and I want to say thank you to her for coming in and listening to our conversation today, as well as Jatindra Singh for coming in also, and listening in to tonight's conversation. We will be live again tomorrow on the 17th, well, I should say for February 17th, day 17, is all about multiple sclerosis. It will be a pre recorded session tomorrow, but it is all about multiple sclerosis, another disease condition that impacts our community. Um, so we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Barbara, with your nice, pretty smile on, could you please give us like 3 steps or 3 tips, I should say, in reference to your knowing your personal health history? Just 3 important, and you can go back over if you need to, but just 3 important tools, like the very top three that
Three
you would say.
tips.
Yes.
3 point question your family. Have that conversation with your family. 2, write it down and share it so that you have that information. Know if you're going to adopt a child or if you're going to be raising somebody's child, what their history is, because that child who grows up with you, they're assuming that their health history is tied to you when it is not. So make sure that you get the true health history through
Barbara, go back and say 1, 2, and 3 again, because for some reason your voice was coming in and out.
Okay. I'm sorry,
I said
you cut
go
out.
and actually say tips 1, 2, and 3 again, because we heard 1 and 2. Well, I heard 1 and 2, but then 3 cut out. So if you could give us the
One,
three
two,
tips
and
again.
three. One, have the conversation. Yeah. First one, have the conversation. Find out exactly what the true health history is, so that your children will know what's going on. Don't be secretive about what your health history is, because it's detrimental to them. Did you get it?
Yes, I got 1. What did you say was
You're on
2?
mute. You
No,
got
I'm off
one.
mute. Yeah, I got 1. What did you
2
say was
is
2?
write it down. Write it down. And then 3 is write it down and share it.
Thank you so much for
Did you
that.
get
And
it?
once again, as you're viewing this, whether you're viewing this tonight or you're viewing this at a later date, other than Friday, February 16th, if you would like the link to tonight's show, please reach out to me. Send me a DM. You can contact me through Facebook. You can contact me through LinkedIn. You can also contact me through Instagram. You can send me an email to our website, which is www.medihelpz.com, and that's MEDIHELPZ.com. And let me know what you want. If you're trying to reach Barbara at, for a later conversation, or maybe you want her to come in and speak to your organization, please reach out. This is all about us helping to uplift our community, collaborating together so that our community is uplifted. Barbara, what is your email address, or how do they get in contact with you should they need to get in contact with you?
So for me, you can contact me at contact at Braddock Consulting Advocacy.com, or you can give me a call. My telephone number is 513-250-0617, or email me, as I said, at contact at Braddock, BRADDOCK, consulting advocacy.com. And my webpage is www.braddockconsultingadvocacy.com. And you have that area there where you can leave me a message, and I will definitely get back in touch with you for sure. And I do offer 15-minute free consultation, so ask me anything. If I don't know the answer, I'll find somebody who will have the answer.
Now, I do want to ask you one final question, and that's this. Are you available just for those people that live in Ohio,
Uh-huh.
or do you also set it up so that you can work with people outside of Ohio?
I can work nationwide.
Okay,
Nationwide.
people. So you hear that, right?
Ohio,
So
Kentucky, Indiana, California, Oregon, Florida, wherever.
So you hear that, everyone? She's not local. So
Yes.
should you need her assistance, or should you need to reach out to her, please use her. She offers a free 15-minute consultation. What that's going to tell you to do to use that 15 minutes wisely is write your questions down before you call her, so that you're not sitting there at home or wherever you're calling her from trying to get your thoughts together. They should already be together, and you should already be able to freely go ahead and say them. Barbara, from my heart, from the heart of the C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz Foundation, we
Yes.
say
And
thank you so
LinkedIn.
much for sharing
Yeah.
with us today. Have the rest of a good night.